So if you picked up your kit from the studio, you're going to find a little package of some mixed media items in there, some charcoal, some gel pens, a straw, things to be able to add on once you've got your drawing and your watercolor onto your paper. You're also going to find some lovely little tips. There's a little sheet about tips for starting off in watercolor, and it's adapted from strathmoreartist.com. Strathmore has some great art supplies, and one of the brands and companies I use here at the studio. And you're also going to find kind of a little pack of papers. So the first one you've got is watercolor paper. This is kind of my basic paper I like to use. It's 140 pounds, so it's heavier than kind of the starter watercolor paper that you can find. And with the watercolor paper, you're going to notice too that one side is a little bit more textured than the other. The textured side is the side you want to paint on. It's just going to work way better. Okay, so there's a couple sheets of that in there. You're also going to find some really heavy stuff. This is Bockingford 250 pounds, so it's almost like a board. It is a paper that is not going to ripple or buckle or anything on you. And you're also going to find a piece of graphite paper in there, and we'll get to that kind of right after our drawing tutorials. So that's the little package of paper and brushes, and you're also going to have a pack of watercolors. They might be some Finetec watercolors. I think I also have some Angora watercolors. These are all watercolors that I have used here in the studio and used myself for different things, and I'm happy with the color and the vibrancy, and they're a really good price for what you get. So you're gonna have that set of watercolors. Okay, all right. So the things that weren't included in the kit that you're going to need, some paper towel would be great. Often that's the one thing I forget to put at my table in my workspace when I'm doing a video tutorial. So I'm running around trying to get some paper towel if I spill or need to wipe my hands on something. I wear my favorite paint shirt quite often for these, but I'm not just gonna go and wipe my fingers all over my shirt. You're also gonna need a container of water. Even if you have a couple containers of water, if you're gonna do a lot of painting, it's really nice to have one container that has clean water, one container that has to clean your brush, so it's going to be the dirty water. And you're also going to need some brushes. Just for these little tutorials, whatever you have is going to be great, what you have at home. I like to use a natural bristle brush for watercolors. Something that's really, really soft is nice. It can be round or flat, so I've got a couple really soft, good watercolor brushes. I also have a couple of just nylon. The nylon ones don't hold as much water, so you just have to get more water and get more paint more often. Okay, and I think that's it. Okay, I'm going to flip the camera around and kind of have it over my shoulder, and we're going to do a couple little guided drawing tutorials so you have something to play and practice with on your watercolor paper. Another kind of drawing idea I want to show you for doing your watercolor is to use a coloring page. So I had printed off a whole bunch, I do have some selection of images here that would work great for the mosaic kit, the watercolor kit, pretty much anything to draw or paint or even just color. But I printed off a whole bunch that have just nice shapes to work with. You can always add details in after, but some nice images just off of Google Images. If you have a coloring book, that works great too. Nice simple shapes are awesome. That little guy's kind of cute and fun. There's a gecko, that. I, for this one, chose something a little bit more tricky. I wanted to do a horse. So that is the image I enjoyed for the horse one. And you'll need your brushes, and you'll also need your straw for this one. Another thing that you're going to have in your Creative Kits package is a piece of graphite or transfer paper. So on one side it's going to be darker, and on the other side it's going to be lighter. This is going to help you trace any image. So you can print something off of Google Images, a coloring book page, a drawing that you've done, and you can turn it into a watercolor painting without having to redraw it. It is a great tool to use and that I love having around in my art supplies. So you're going to take it with the dark side down. Okay. And you're going to choose and use the images that you prefer. So this one I did of a horse, and I will include the link right here to get it off of Google Images. And have a pencil. And what you're going to do is just trace the outlines or the lines that you want to keep for your drawing. So just around all of the outer lines, any of the lines of detail that you would like to keep or have in your drawing to paint along or around. I'm not going to draw all of the butterflies, but I really liked the flow of the mane here. So just using those lines, I'm going to leave out most of the detail in. I like to add my own detail. And you can always just double check. If you're not sure if you got all the spots, just hold your drawing in place, lift up a corner, and you'll be able to see it right on your paper. I'm not used to drawing and painting with a camera I've got it almost exactly right by my face. So it's just one of those new challenges I'm overcoming, working around and kind of hugging my stand for my camera just to help show you these drawings a little bit better. There we go. Oh, and I want to do the eye. Make sure I've got the eye. Oh, and the nostril. There. Yeah. Okay. So there. Super kind of quick way of adding some lines and an image onto your watercolor paper. But if you flip it over and you take your pencil or you take chalk or even your charcoal will end up quite dark, but if you get your pencil all where your outline is, so I'm just kind of scribbling on the back of my image using the side of my pencil, going around just the outline. And I think I want some of the mane there and the eye. I'll probably draw a little bit in. There. I'm going to turn my paper this way. Okay, and I just kind of place my image where I want. I'm going to center it there. And I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to press along the outline, just following it. And it will transfer right onto your paper. So I'm going to go all around the outside edge. You can just go with your pencil, your pen. All of those little details, just keep following those lines. So you have all the main outlines that you need. There. Oh, and I want the eye. There we go. So I have that now onto my paper. I'm going to outline it a little bit better so I can see it some more and you can see it some more. Oh, I forgot the inside of the nose. And I'll just draw that in. I'll just add that in. So I'm just following all those lines. Hopefully you can see a little bit better now. Add that in. It's nice when the images have just a few lines. There we go. Okay, so and then with this one, you just get to paint it whatever colors you choose. This one I think I would do pretty non-traditional, maybe rainbow even. You can do some splatters. I'm going to show you some splatters and I'm going to show you using the straw. Okay, so I've got my straw ready. I've got my colors and I'm just going to show you some of the fun techniques here, where I'm going to just kind of add water all over here. It's for the mane. And we'll work with that. Okay. I'll show you some splatters. I'm actually going to show you the straw first. And, all right, let's go. I'm going to stick with red, blue, and yellow, I think. So I'm going to mix up quite a bit of yellow here. My brush is nice and wet. Adding quite a bit of water into that yellow there. Okay. I'm just gonna do some splatters. I'm just taking my brush, it's always good to have a art table or some paper down. Okay, so here you can see where the splatters are on the dry paper and the splatters are on the wet paper. Okay, gonna clean my brush so I can get ready for my next color. Now we'll get my straw. And I'm going to use some red. So again, lots of red on my brush. Really mixing that up. I'm going to use my straw. Okay, I want to get a little bit of, you can even tilt your paper. So tilt, and I've got lots of water, so it's going to run. And I can pull my water down a little bit more. And now I'm going to put some red on the dry area here. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. Always take a break from blowing with your straw. I don't want this here, so I'm going to use a wet brush, and I'm just going to wet brush, and then a dry brush. And kind of just blend it in, make it disappear a little bit. There we go. And I think I'm going to add something else up here. Some blue. There we go. I'm just going to, I think, let it run on my, I don't want it to run that way, I want it to go that way. And that way. There. And a little bit of blue down here. A little bit more. Take a break. Watercolor likes to go where there's water. Let's see if I can get this one to run that way. So, my horse got a little bit more red again, so I'm going to take another dry brush. Dab it up with some paper towel, Kleenex. It's just going to end up being a pink horse, I guess. And some splatters. But I think I want a few red splatters over here. And I want a few blue splatters, so I'm going to get the brush I had for the blue. Keep it nice and clean. There we go. So I've got my 3 primaries that have mixed, and I've been able to make some purple. There's a little bit of a green in here and even some orange up in here. So working with just the 3 primaries gives you some great opportunity to just play and make some new colors. So once this dries, I will add some of my gel pen and charcoal again to outline the details, maybe add some dots, some little drawings, some doodles of spirals or circles. And there we have it. So that is your fun little watercolor painting tutorials. And once these are all dry, I'll be back and I'll show you some of the drawing with the mixed media. All right, so this is the last one with some watercolor techniques of some splatters and the drips and the runs. This was the wet on wet and how it dried, and this was the wet on dry. If I was going to, well, I would, and I will eventually, but I want to make sure I get this tutorial done for you. I would add a lot more of the dry splatters up into this area, even now that it's dry, with this really nice colored wash over top. I really like the splatter effect, but I also really like the wash effect and the blended colors that are happening up there. So I would definitely kind of do the washes and do more splatter, but I want to just show you some of the finishing ideas for this one. So I've got one of my gel pens here. This is just a black one, and just again some really nice outlines. You can use any supplies that you have on hand. Pencil crayons work great. Markers. Pastels. Just about any of the materials works for being able to do mixed media and watercolor. Having it on paper just makes it so versatile. Yeah. So just kind of following all of my outlines that I had done in pencil. Adding a few more in. I think I would. There we go. Just helps all of your shapes and your images get a little bit more defined. They'll stand out. There we go. There. And filling that one in too. There we go. And adding some pencil crayon. just a little bit, just for some extra color. I really enjoy using a little bit of everything. There we go. So I hope you have fun finishing up all of your wonderful new art pieces, and you take the time to play and explore and experiment with a little bit more. Thanks for watching.